Thank you for joining us on The Brief today. And today we're having a spotlight session with Simon Kruse. Who's Simon Kruse? What is his job all about at Blocksquare? What does he do? How does he add value? What would he say to members of our community? And he's an active member of the community, and much more. Simon, how are you?
Hey man, thanks you for hosting me. I'm really good, and it's a pleasure to be here.
You're in Dubai, yeah?
Yes, right.
And Simon decided to move to Dubai, so it's a pleasant thing, and he's enjoying Dubai as it seems to
Oh
date.
yeah,
Yeah,
I really do. I really do. It's a bit hot, and but I think I will get used to it. So
yeah. You need to start also getting on with some water sports, and then probably you would not feel it's hot any longer. Guys, this is a message to all of you: move to Dubai. Uh, you you
oh yeah,
you
it's
you
amazing.
can't find a more safe, pleasant, and vibrant city as much as this. By the way, are you on to the upcoming AI week? Are you part of that?
Not sure yet. I don't know if I have the time to make it, but if I have any free time, I will be there.
Yeah, if you want to tell me after this session, and we probably would join there. Guys, we'll talk about much today. Simon has much to say to the community, has much to talk about our project, and the details. And Simon understands the tech side as well as the logic behind the tech. So I believe that we will have much value to add. What we'll try to do, because we've heard some of those, some of the comments that say, make it please as shorter as possible. We've heard other comments that said, please explain it with more access to simple details. In other words, make it as explanatory as possible. But the bigger number of our viewers said, you know what, make it as short as possible, and probably we'll try to target 30 to 45 minutes, which is supposedly good enough to do a deep dive into Simon today. Simon, tell me, what do you do at Blocksquare? And how did you join Blocksquare, and why are you an active member of our team?
Sure. I joined Blocksquare back in the old days during the ICO, and even before that, when they had the bug bounty programs running, and I was from the early days one of the community members. Then I talked a lot with Dennis. I felt like we had a great connection to each other, and that's kind of how I started advising Blocksquare, how I joined the team, and yeah, now I'm there since 2018, helping developing everything and helping on the tech side. It's really a great experience so far.
So last time we met, you mentioned that you're into tech. However, today what you do mostly in tech is not what you were into tech with initially, isn't it? Why?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, so for everyone, I started as software developer. That's my experience, and which I did the past years, I would say. However, I moved more into positions being a technical lead or even CTO, not at Blocksquare, but in other projects. So I kind of moved a lot away from developing actively and more on the tech management side, tech advisory side. So I mean, I never thought I would do that, but it's really good for me, and I really enjoy it. So,
So give us a comment here. You know, tech projects are known to sometimes take much longer than expected or required. Yeah, and when that happens, usually everyone around the tech team freaks out. I'm sure you've lived this plenty of times, and you've seen this plenty of times. Tell me, why would it usually take so much time? When we say we are launching version 2 of this, and it doesn't happen in time, it takes another month or 2 or 3. Why would that happen usually? And is there a solution? Is there a process map that we can follow to avoid that somebody can discover one day, or probably not?
so yeah, that's a good question. So in general, you always work in the software development with timelines that you estimate based on the task that you are given, I would say. However, the problem with this timelines is, and especially in crypto, this changed a lot, and it's quite hard to estimate how much time you really need for
Is it
something.
because there's no blueprint, no schematic?
Yes and no. Like the main reason I would say is because the tech stack that we have in crypto, which all the different services that we need to combine together, makes it be like very difficult, in my opinion, to give estimate timeframes. Because let's say we work with a blockchain like Ethereum, there can issues can happen there. And they give you back like an error message that you don't even understand because like there is no defined error for that. So then you sit again as developer there for 4 days and trying to figure out what this error is and how you can solve it without any real information. And that's just one of the things. Then also you possibly have like a wallet that doesn't support the standard as it should and all these different things. And this can
So,
cause delays. And then don't forget at the end, you need to go to an auditor, which then says, hey, I need 1 week to audit it, but it takes three. Then you have a delay very easily.
yep. And so what Simon is saying, guys, is the following. Simon is saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, Simon, in our word, in his word, for not me, I'm not a tech guy, I barely understand tech. In Simon's word, in the tech world, they shouldn't be giving timelines and deadlines. They do so because in our world, we impose that on them. So they're trying to adapt to what we think and how we think and how we are wired. And that's where things fall apart. Is this
Yes,
what you're saying?
yes. I believe more in saying, hey, it will be ready during Q1 this year rather than like the 15th of April will be our launch day, like for
Okay.
example. Or like, like never give a specific day in crypto where something will happen because there's always something that can give you a delay. So I believe more in like, hey, we say let's aim for like last week of Q2, for example. And then if we publish it earlier, it's good for everyone. And we can market that as well. But I mean, never give it a
You
fixed
know,
date.
guys, just for you to know, I totally disagree with Simon's theory. Okay, I believe in deadlines and I believe they should be given. And I believe, I don't have the solution, but I believe someone as smart as Simon will come up one day and create a solution where a time can be estimated with contingencies and audit contingencies and fixes and fix contingencies and then give it a timeline. Now, the problem here becomes that project owners or managers or the people behind the project usually try to squeeze developers into a certain timeline, and this is where it happens. But in my view, developers should be able, through a scientific way that is approximately foolproof, decide the approximate time a project would take. But then people from the other universe, us, come to them and try to squeeze that. So they tell us it takes 6 months. And we tell them, no, we expect it in 3. And then
Yeah.
we argue, and then it becomes 3.5 because of the contingencies, for example. And then it takes 4.5. So they're probably delivering, if they're a good team and they know what they're doing, prior to the time they should deliver. But that happens. This is how it happens, and we need to find that kind of marriage in between. Now, Simon is someone who's very enthusiastic about everything we do at Blocksquare. And it's very interesting to me to understand why. From his point of view, he's a young gentleman. His background is tech. It's not real estate, and it's tech, and it's becoming an investor in tech through bounty hunting and through and initially bug bounty. Yeah, is what you were after. So today, why do you think what we're doing at Blocksquare and and Ocean Point is something that matters to the world? And why do you support the project the way you do support it?
Well, that's a good question. So I think for me, the most important thing about Blocksquare is actually that it gives access for everyone to invest in real estate. And I mean, try to invest in a property these days from a traditional finance background. Like you need a big amount of money, like just to enter the market. And I think that's wrong. Everyone should be able to do it, especially in our times. Like someone should have like $50 every month that he can invest in tokenized real estate, and that's later for his pension. So I think that's really important. And also, with Blocksquare, we kind of have a case study, in my opinion, how we can tokenize other assets in the world, not only real estate, but we build a framework that could be a case study for other assets, or like even, I don't know, stocks possibly in the future if you have like a licensed broker that kind of handles the system. So I see it being adopted for different areas as well, rather than just real estate. And that's what is really interesting to me, because I try to change the world as a tech guy. And that's what for me is changing the world. You're defining something new that isn't like regulated yet, and you try to make the best tech that the regulator are happy with you.
So tell me something here. We have tech that does that. You have definitely also looked at the Oceanpoint as a product and as a solution. Where do you see Oceanpoint coming into the picture, and why do you believe Oceanpoint as a solution does add this much value to the whole ecosystem?
In my opinion, Oceanpoint is really great for all users, especially if you want to earn passive income. And I could see a world where Oceanpoint is part of your pension like portfolio, I would say, and later possibly like a bank or some other portfolio management will take some money every month from you and invest it in Oceanpoint. And in this way, you invested in different real estate. Like, I mean, you don't even invest in one property, you invest in a basket of properties, which is always good. I mean, we all know how the market can be, and that like one city might be not valuable anymore. So we have properties in a different city. And I can see this being a thing for your pensions in the future. And that's what I believe need to be the case, because I mean, how much can we really trust our governments that they will help us when we are old? Like, I mean, I'm young and I don't see it anymore for my age. Like, so I have to do something on my own.
Look, you have that worry because where you come from, there's a government who still is debatably trying to take care of your future. Where I come from, that debate is closed, has been closed a long time ago. No one cares. So for us, it's easy. Yeah? It's easier for me to. However, a good thing about Dubai, I'm not sure if you know, Dubai. So I'm from Lebanon. Dubai, the city I live in since around 20 years, have started a kind of pension scheme and a kind of job security scheme and a kind of insurance scheme. And I believe those will be developed because those are just recent. So hopefully in the future, Dubai will have such systems in a capitalist manner. It's not in a socialist manner. And by socialist, I mean, or capitalist, I mean in a way that's sustainable, where it doesn't weigh much on the community and the economy and the environment and the government's finances, where it's sustainable for a long time and actually in perpetuity. If we look at something that's really sustainable and can develop and grow, why not? So your luck is changing joining us in Dubai. Now, Simon, you've been a community manager as well.
Yeah, my early days in crypto.
Yes.
I did that, but I don't want to go back to that.
Sure, but I want to take you back for a second. What do you feel about our community? So at Blocksquare, we have a small community, but it's, I feel, a very solid community, very active community. What do you feel about our community, and what do you feel are things that we need to do? So we talked to Julia, our CMO, after the session, and we chat with her about things we need to do to uplift our community, to improve where we stand, and to grow from there.
Man, you're asking me a lot about marketing right now. Like, that's not my specific area.
Sure, but I would like to know about your community building experience.
Well, to be fair, it's hard to say for me. What I really enjoy about the Blocksquare community is that since all the beginning, like since 2018, most of them stayed there. Like, even when we had nothing to publish and we went really quiet for some time, the community was loyal and they stayed with us. And that's what I really appreciate, because we have our core community that is supporting us since the launch, basically. And that's really good. And I wish we had a bigger group like that. So like 5,000 members, but all like our initial community members. That would be amazing. But I don't know. Like for me, it's quite hard to say how to grow a group or something, because I'm not in marketing. I usually
Sure.
hire people for that. So
Sure. So let's dive into the tech that we have. Why is our tech different? And a question that we're always asked. So what we've built on Ethereum, which in general is seen as high cost, sometimes low efficiency in people's eyes. And we answered this plenty of times. However, in Simon's eyes, what is different about the tech we've built?
so yeah, first of all, for everyone that complains about Ethereum, yes, the fees are high. I get that. But also keep in mind, Ethereum has proven to be the most secure chain, I would say, over the years. I mean, we have institutions moving around $100 million in seconds, and they trust the chain, so trust it as well. And I mean, that's the thing with real estate and tokenization of real estate. You want to make sure that the chain itself is fine, and that everything is working, and that you can trust that nothing happened to the chain itself. So, in my opinion, for security, Ethereum is the best chain. Does it cost more? Yes, of course. But I mean, it's not like you will stake every day or every second. So you maybe do it once a month, you maybe do it once every 6 months, and then it's fine. Then you have the chain that is proven to be good, it's secure, and you pay like a fee once or twice a year. Like that's how I see it. And from a tech stack itself, we try to be as decentralized as possible. We use website that could be run by everyone technically. It's built in React, so that's not an issue if anyone wants to run the website. For the data fetching, we use something called the Graph, which is a decentralized protocol for indexing data from the blockchain, which basically means we just tell them how to read the data and they give it back to us in the way we need it. That's decentralized as well. So, I mean, smart contracts are decentralized as well. So if for one reason in the future someone else wants to run the Oceanpoint website, they could do. Like that's not an issue at all. And I believe that's the future. And I mean, that's what we say with DeFi. We actually want it decentralized and not like only run by Blocksquare or only run by Oceanpoint. I mean, the vision long term is that everyone can run.
Okay, so here we touch the DAO side of what we're doing. Do we believe we're becoming a DAO, and how do you believe we're becoming a DAO, and why is it important? You've answered part of why is it important to become a DAO.
So the DAO itself is a bit different than decentralized hosting of the infrastructure. So okay. I was more explaining the decentralized hosting part.
Okay.
But definitely, a DAO, in my opinion, is important because it gives everyone the right to decide about the future of the protocol. And I mean, how many times did we had in this current world where we didn't agree with the decisions that a Fortune 500 company made, and we wish it would be different? Or how difficult it can be to vote in an actual government these days. So imagine you can just do it from your computer with your wallet, and that's it. You take part in the decision-making process. And that's what everyone wants, in my opinion, and what everyone should be able to do. If they later take the vote or not, that's up to them, but they should have the possibility to vote easily and frictionless, even from their smartphone.
Perfect. So let's dive into Simon, the person. What's the background that you come from? What have you studied in school? I was Dennis and I yesterday were with Kira Mesquita, an amazing gentleman, and I believe when you see that episode you will love it. And that guy at 11 was on the first blockchain mailing list. He received the Bitcoin white paper in 2009. He was 11 years old. I still can't, guys, comprehend and understand that. where did you start? How did you run into tech? Was it by mistake? Was it by choice? Kieran says that for him, he had very little friends. So he had that as the resort to communicate and interact. How did you end up there? But let's start from your school years and your upbringing, please, and go ahead.
Well, actually, I started around 11 as well with tech.
Okay.
So that was when I got into tech, but I started in the beginning with easy stuff like website development back in the old days.
So at 11, you were website developing.
Well, I learned it. I started to learn it and did my first website. I mean, none of them were good, but I tried to start it. And that's how I got interested in the system. And I did more and more like on a hobby side. And then later I decided like, hey, why don't you make it your profession? You love it anyway. So I went to school and then I did a traineeship in Germany with a company for 3 years. And after that, I was like software developer. And I was like, great, what do you do next? And I don't know, like I kind of felt like office is not my thing. I really didn't enjoy it. So I started with crypto. I started with bug bounty programs where I tried to break websites and get paid, which worked really well at that time.
So you like to break stuff?
Oh yeah, like I like to test it and break it until it hurts.
Okay.
But so yeah, I did that, and during these times, I saw Blocksquare, started to interact with you guys, and joined the team at one point. And I mean, from there, like as I said, I was 3.5 years technical lead at Orion Protocol that went to I think 650 million market cap at one point. Now I'm the CTO at Paribus, which has a like investment from C Fund, which is like the anchoring arm of Cardano, which is really good as well. And I mean, over the years, I've built a lot of connections within the space, especially on the tech side, but also on other things like exchanges and so on. So, I mean, I see myself in a really good position to help Blocksquare long term. Even if people complain about, hey, you should list on an exchange or whatever, like guys that will come, like, don't worry about it. It's a long term goal. Have the product out first is what I learned. Make sure your product is solid. That's the most important thing, in my opinion. I really don't like to market anything that isn't ready. So, and I've learned over the years with exchanges, the better your product is, the more likely they will list you, and the easier it is for you to go through all the compliance. And that's, I think, one of the most important things, and what a lot of projects these days don't understand. They want to get listed on day one, or the community want them to get listed on day one. But guys, don't forget, like at the moment, it's just a vision like 1,000 other projects have. But the moment you have actually a product and you have it live, you're differentiating yourself from them.
Exactly, because you at that time you have economic value. So it's beyond the white paper and the vision of few guys who felt that this is a good thing to have. You've touched on something very important here, which everyone always talks about, which is the hype that you can build around a project, starting by listing on exchange and creating more volume and then you talked also about the value behind it, a product that's ready, a product that is onto the market that touches people's lives. Do you feel that we are at a brink of touching people's lives mass in the tokenization of real estate side? Because as you know, over the past few years, in general, tokenization and blockchain in real estate have had many challenges. One of them is legislative. Okay. On the tech side, I'll not take you to legislation. I'll keep you on the tech side. Do you feel that we are ready for the world? And do you feel that we are at that tipping point?
Yes, so I can definitely see that we are at this tipping point. But I mean, to be fair, right now, most people, they invest in crypto, either in meme coins or like in NFTs that have no value. And I think we need a shift in the thought of everyone. Like, I mean, why don't they go with something like Blocksquare and invest in real estate? I mean, even if there's the next crash in crypto, the underlying real estate still has value. So your investment is secured, kind
It
of.
still has cash flow, which is as important as the value.
Exactly. And that's the issue, in my opinion, right now with the entire crypto market. I mean, people invest in all this project and trying to get rich really quick, but I mean, most of these projects or NFTs or whatever they invest in have no underlying value. And I think we need to shift the market to a point where things have an underlying value. It's backed by real estate. We use stable coins that are backed by gold, for example, rather than just US dollar. I mean, if you look at the US dollar inflation, it doesn't make sense to me why someone should hold Tether or USDC. I mean, you're just inflating your crypto capital then. And that's the point. So I wish more people would use gold stable coins or silver stable coins or whatever, but it's backed by real asset.
Yeah, probably a back of commodities, because I'm anti-gold as a...
Exactly. Yeah. Backed by commodities in general. That's more than fine, but something that is used in the traditional economy, that is used to produce around the world. I mean, then you have a crypto that has an underlying value just because the product behind it is used in the economy. So even if things go bad in crypto, you know, hey, I can redeem this crypto for the underlying value and still have my thing. Let's say you have a Tether gold and it's backed by 1 ounce of gold. You know, it always has a value because you can redeem this crypto and get the actual gold behind it. So it won't go to $1 or even lower because you know there's gold behind it. And I think that's what we need more in general with commodities as a general topic, or real estate, for example. I mean, you have markets like...
And real estate is a better bet, I believe. Yeah, real estate is a cash flowing asset. Gold is not.
Well, I disagree with you there, not especially with gold, but in general, I think the commodities market is way bigger than, or way more stable than the real estate market. But that's my opinion.
I'm sure I will disagree with most of people in the world on that, because I believe that no one should hold gold, and whoever holds gold should not hold more than 2% of their wealth in gold, because that's my personal belief. I believe that gold has no intrinsic value, and in general, no utility value. The value of gold is similar to the value of the US dollars, because we believe that there's scarcity of it, and there is scarcity actually. It's not a belief, that's the fact. Okay, however, we believe that this is the value to it, and we've linked too many things to its value, thus moving it up and down. However, I believe that whatever does have value is similar to a cow, what Benjamin Graham calls something that can produce. Now, the problem with a cow is that it produces, but eventually, if you want to eat its meat, it dies. Or eventually, it would die regardless if you want to eat its meat or not. Real estate is a property, or is a cow that does give you milk all the time, and you can continue eating from it, and it will not die, and you can mortgage it and take, and there's nothing. Grant Cardone says the bank would not lend you 75% of the value and for a 60-year loan on their own stock, but will do it on real estate.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, so there is value there, in my view, in the underlying. But again, I disagree with most of people, and most of people will disagree with me because I'm biased to real estate, I believe, and I bias for a reason in my head. Yeah, the reason says that I do have more value and people will have more value. It doesn't matter what the value is tomorrow morning. I'm always being paid based on the dollar value tomorrow. I'm always being paid average with inflation tomorrow. If the labor cost changes, my real estate income will change because people will be able to afford more for a home, to rent or to pay. Prices go up, renters increase, so I will have more tenants. So I agree. To go back again to the subject, I agree with what you're saying. With the concept, we disagree with the underlying in a way or another, or what's a better underlying for stable coins. And here we're talking about stable coins.
Oh, I mean, the crypto in general don't even need to be stable coins. But I mean, if you have NFTs in the future, why don't you back them by real assets? Like, I mean, this gives the NFT directly an underlying value. Like, then you have, then you have like a floor price that won't go below a specific price. And I mean, your entire collection is worth more. So I don't get why people don't do that. And I think people don't do that because it's still too early. Like, they don't want to bother with like, hey, how I can have commodities behind it. Like, nobody wants to bother with that. It's such a headache, and also legal stuff you have to figure out. So nobody does it. But I see the market there. And it's the same with real estate, and why I think Blocksquare is so important, because Blocksquare saw early that there's this market and there's this demand, and that we need to somehow get into this market. And I mean, I know what was like what you guys did behind the scenes. So like the past years, just the legal work that was done, like it's unbelievable for like people, you won't believe how much legal work was behind this. And that's what I was just saying. Not many people or projects want to actually do that. And yeah, but Blocksquare is different from that, and they try to change the world.
100%. And you touch on a very important point here, which is it's way beyond the tech. You also touched when you talked about NFTs, which is tech is not for tech. We create NFTs. Why is it? Is it a proof of ownership? Is it a record of ownership? What is an NFT? For music, for art, for real estate, for anything. So a non-fungible token has a utility, has a use. Why do we use it? Currently, we use it just to earn bananas or loomies or whatever you want to call it, and it's you're recycling no value to no value. But unfortunately, the hype, or fortunately for some people, the hype makes value of it. So you're telling me you're not an NFT buyer or investor?
Well, I buy NFTs, don't get me wrong, because I mean, on a hobby, I'm a trader as well. So
Okay.
not a good one, but I try my best
Okay.
to say that.
Okay.
But yeah, I wish I could actually buy more NFTs that have an underlying value. And I mean, the reason I can't is because the market doesn't serve enough, which first of all, like goes through my own quality control if they make sense to me from the team
Trying
behind
to
it and
break
everything.
them, yeah?
Yeah, and then also like then they are sometimes backed by stuff which don't make sense to me at all. And I think NFTs can be so much more. I mean, let's say at one point we have proof of ownership just for a car history, or whenever there was a car maintained or whatever. Like these are the things that can be done with NFTs as well. You have then a record of this car which can never be faked again. And I think that's the most important, or like that are some important areas where NFTs will get into eventually. But I mean, supply chain is another thing. Like just supply chain management. For every product, you could have an NFT, and you know where it was produced, where it was refactored, and when it arrived somewhere in a shop. Why don't we do it? Yeah, well, because it's not easy to change the supply chain management, and the big companies don't want you to change it
But
because they
eventually they
earn.
would.
Oh, what, like IBM, for example, they are working since years on the blockchain for supply chain management. So it's not an easy task, but there are some companies working on it, but it will take time until it eventually will be used in our everyday life.
And you're hearing it, guys, from the man who breaks projects, and if it stands his test, it should stand any test. And he's a, and yeah, so we stood the test, guys. What is a question that you should have been asked, or you would have loved to be asked today, Simon, that you haven't been asked?
Oh man, I have no idea. Like,
So tell me something you would like to tell our community that you haven't had the opportunity to say before or today.
oh, don't use your traditional banks anymore, and try to get rid of them. That's what I can tell you.
Okay. Simon Kruse, thank you so much for being on a spotlight today on Block Chat, an
Thank you.
episode of The Brief. I enjoyed this chat. I had the opportunity to meet Simon on a few occasions personally, and an enjoyable character who knows what he's talking about. And again, it's a pleasure seeing you, pleasure having you part of our, and you've been part of Blocksquare, by the way, before even I've been part of Blocksquare. So it's a pleasant thing to have team members who are very involved, tech advisors who really believe in the project, believe in the calling, and do understand the background of their belief. And for Simon, it's a technical belief as well as a economic logic belief. So he understands that this is the future from both sides. Simon, thank you so much for joining us and for your time. Is there a last message you would like to send to our community?
Well, first of all, thank you for hosting me. It was a pleasure. If you need me ever again, just give me a message, and I'm more than happy to join if you need anything tech related explained.
Will do.
And
for those who are on Discord and Telegram, Simon is there. So if you want to ask him any question at any time, feel free to, isn't it?
Not on Discord, but on Telegram. I'm not a big fan of Discord. So.
Okay.
But for Blocksquare, I will join. So don't get
Perfect. So I have that as a promise?
Yeah, you have that as promise. Okay. But other than that, like what I would say, the community, don't invest in every hype. Make sure you do some research about the team and the core concept behind it. Not everything that looks gold is gold. So yeah, be careful out there. The world is the crypto world is a wild west right now, and we need to be careful to navigate through it.
So that it doesn't fall apart for us, because eventually it will fall apart and then stand on again, but so that it doesn't fall apart for us. With this thought, thank you all for joining us. Welcome on another session of Block Chat Spotlight. Have a pleasant day. Ciao.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.